I own both the Gucci Dionysus and the Gucci Marmont, and I want to be very clear about that from the start. These are not bags that I borrowed, and these are not bags that I bought recently. And this is not a first impression comparison. The Gucci Dionysus came into my life in June 2021, and the Marmont came shortly after in Feb 2022. Both the bags that I picked were intentional at that time, and both felt justified as well. And both taught me very different lessons. Because when you actually live with luxury bags, something interesting happens. Your opinions change, your habits reveal themselves, and the bag you thought you loved ends up being the bag that you don't even carry. That is what this video is about. The problem with the most bag comparison videos. Most bag comparisons are filmed at the most optimistic stage possible, right before or right after the purchase. At that stage, everything feels exciting, the weight seems acceptable, the structure feels luxurious, and the price still feels justified. But no one talks about what happens 6 months later, or 1 year later, or even 2 years later. No one talks about which bag you take when you're running late, which bag stays in your wardrobe without any debate, and which bag slowly becomes invisible in your wardrobe. Those decisions happen subconsciously, and they are far more honest than any review. This video is coming from that phase. Context: when and why I bought each bag. Let's start with the context, because timing matters. The Gucci Dionysus launched in 2015 and the Gucci Marmont launched in 2016. By the time the Gucci Dionysus came into my life, it already had history. It felt established, it felt serious. At that point, I was very drawn to structured bags, statement hardware, and pieces that looked styled without even trying. The Dionysus fit that version of me perfectly. When I got the Marmont in Feb 2022, my priorities had shifted. I wasn't shopping for drama anymore. I was shopping for ease. The difference alone explains almost everything that followed. Let's discuss this in more detail, bag by bag. Here is what the Dionysus promised me. When I first got the Dionysus, it felt powerful, it felt structured. I liked the weight of it. I loved the tiger head closure. It felt like a bag that announced itself. When you carry it, you feel dressed, you feel intentional, and you feel like you've made a fashion decision. And even today, I can say this without hesitation that the Gucci Dionysus has held its shape perfectly. It still looks polished, it still holds its shape, and it still looks expensive. But here is the uncomfortable truth. I admire it more than I reach out for it. The moments that I didn't choose the Dionysus. This is where ownership becomes real. There were countless moments when the Dionysus technically worked, but emotionally it didn't. Quick dinners, casual outings, days when I didn't want to think too hard. The bag wasn't wrong. I feel like the moment was. And slowly, without any dramatic decisions, it started staying behind more often. Not because I disliked it, but because it asked for more than what I wanted to give. It actually just started to feel bulky. Moving up to the Marmont, how and why it snuck into my life. The Marmont, it didn't demand attention. When I got it, it didn't feel bold, it didn't feel architectural, it didn't feel editorial. What it felt like was cooperative. The soft leather, the way it sits against my body, the fact that it works even when I'm dressed up or whether I'm wearing something completely casual. I didn't have to plan for it, I didn't have to justify it, and that's why it quietly became my most used Gucci bag. Comfort, weight, and mental load. Here's something people rarely talk about. Luxury bags, they sort of create a mental load in your head. The Dionysus has presence. You feel its weight, you feel the chain, you feel the structure. But the Marmont, it disappears. And when you're living real life, that disappearance is powerful. You don't wake up thinking you want the lighter bag. You automatically just reach for it. And over time, those small decisions, they compound. Durability versus real life. Ironically, the Dionysus bag is the one that's aged more beautifully. It still looks almost new. The Marmont shows wear more easily. The leather softens, the bag looks more lived in. But here's the reality. A bag that looks new but isn't used has less value than a bag that shows wear because it was loved. And that is the part that nobody wants to admit. What I learned about my own style. Although both these bags made appearances in my life about 6 to 8 months apart, owning both these bags taught me something very important about myself. It's the fact that I like structure in theory, but I choose ease in practice. I don't regret owning the Dionysus by any means, but I do regret assuming that I would always dress up for it. The Marmont, it grew with my life. The Dionysus stayed tied to a version of me that no longer shows up every day. Final, honest answer. If I had to choose again today, knowing everything that I know now, I would buy the Gucci Marmont without hesitation. It earns its place, it shows up, it adapts. The Dionysus, I respect it, I appreciate it, but it would not be my first choice anymore. And that does not make it a bad bag. It just makes it the wrong bag for me. If you're deciding between these two bags, don't ask yourself which one is more iconic. Ask which one will quietly follow through your life. Because the most expensive bag is the one that you don't use. The one that stays in the dust bag. If you liked watching this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and I will see you in my next one. Bye.